back with Kitus Cooks. Today we're going to make everybody's favorite Hot Pockets. They're so easy to make, so fun to make. You can make them, you put them in your freezer, you've got them for a long time. You can make, the recipe we're making today, we'll make 4. So if you double this recipe, you can make 8. Triple it, 12, you know, on and on and on. So this is a fun one to do. It's very easy to make. You can do all kinds of different fillings. Today we're going to do like a Canadian bacon and cheese one. If you wanted to do like a pizza style with some pepperoni, some mozzarella cheese, and some pizza sauce, or you could do a vegetarian one. You could do it kind of a samosa style, like an Indian style, where you would do like some curry and some vegetables. So they're really fun, so easy to make. And that gets us to where we're going to start with the dough. First thing we're going to do is make our dough for this. And it's a very simple recipe, so simple in fact, that I'm going to make it right in front of you. So what we do, we start with 2 cups of flour. I'm dipping my flour in there, grabbing my screen, putting it over that. Okay, so I'm going to start with 2 cups of flour, 1 cup, level that off right onto the screen. 2nd cup, there we go. Perfect, look at that, like I've done it before. So 2 cups of flour. Now we're going to keep the flour right here because we're going to use it again as we work. We're going to put in about a teaspoon of salt, and we'll go ahead and shake that through, okay? Obviously you can see I've got my screen was a little bigger than it should have been, or my bowl was too small, one of the two, but it's going to work anyways, all right? So we got 2 cups of flour, and then instead of using Crisco, we're going to use cream cheese today. So we're going to use 3/4 cup of cream cheese, which, knowing me, that's exact right there. And we'll just use our regular method of combining the fat, which is cream cheese today, with the flour. And then once we're done, we're going to add, I pulled out about 8 tablespoons of frozen water, cold water, icy water. We'll call it icy water. Frozen water is ice in my book. So what we're going to do, this cream cheese is cold. I keep the flour cold. So all these things, the cold temperature really makes the dough what we really want, okay? So we're mixing it in with our hands. See, the way I do it like that, that's the best way, as far as I'm concerned, to really work it all in. You don't have to get them all broken up. Little bigger pieces is good for really giving some flakiness to the dough. I'll bring over my cold ice water, and we're not going to put it all in at once. We pour a little bit at a time. Try not to get any of those ice cubes in there. Then we mix it in. You can do it with your hands. You can mix it in like I'm doing right now with a spatula, or you could use a wooden spoon, whatever works for you. You can even do this in a mixer, a Cuisinart. There I am. I keep throwing out names like that, hoping I'll get some, they'll see this on YouTube, and then they'll send me some swag. I could use a really cool Cuisinart t-shirt, or KitchenAid, sorry, I messed it up. Look at that. So there we go. I think that's going to be just about pretty close, the right amount. So what I do, I get this all blended together. You don't want to overwork it. And oh, look, it's all sticky, man. That's okay. Just the flour wasn't all mixed in. There's still down there in the bottom. Okay, so it's almost all there. Getting close. This is probably like the boringest thing to watch me knead some dough, but you got to do it. You got to do it to learn this, okay? So usually what happens when the dough's ready, it starts kind of pulling off of your fingers like it is now. It's all ready to go. It's not too sticky. It's a nice consistency. I work it into a ball, and then what I'm going to do is I have some plastic wrap here. I'll just wrap it with plastic wrap, and we're going to let it sit for probably 10 or 15 minutes. Let it sit. That gets the dough really blends in together. It gets it all cohesive, beautiful, tasty. Our cream cheese dough for our Hot Pockets. Okay, so let's just sit around for 10 minutes and wait, or not. Haha, by magic of TV land, what I went ahead and did is I made some of the dough ahead of time. And so what I'm going to do is take my dough scraper, scrape off the bench scraper, and scrape everything off. You should see the floor here. It looks like there was a snowstorm. I got something in the oven right now. Oh, nice. Oh, that looks good. Okay, so what I do now is I have some dough. And so this is one recipe, but I already made one so I could cook it and so you would see it. So you're gonna be able to make out of a recipe, that recipe of dough we just made, you'll be able to make 4 Hot Pockets out of that, okay? So this one we should be able to get 3 out of since we took one out of there already. So you divide it as evenly as you can. And really important, as far as I'm concerned, you're gonna roll it, get it into a dough ball. Because I start everything that I do in the kitchen, if it's breads or pizzas or cookies or anything like this, I start with the same shape, okay? And then I'm ready to go. If it's like, like this, I'm not okay with that. I have to have it in a dough ball, okay? So that's perfect. So I'm going to spread a little flour onto our surface. And now this is where you're able to change your dough around a bit. Sprinkle a little bit on top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press it out with my fingers to start it. So I want to get it in a rectangular shape first, okay? So there we have, that's pretty nice rectangular, or almost a square. And then with my rolling pin, I'm going to roll it a little further out. And this one we want the dough to be kind of thin, because if you have really thick dough on these Hot Pockets, it's going to be too doughy, too much to chew through, okay? So you want just the right amount of dough to the filling, okay? It's really frustrating if you have like a really beautiful looking Hot Pocket or a pastry or something, and you bite into it and you get this big mouthful of dough, and then there's a little bit of filling on the inside, okay? So what we're trying to do, we're trying to get the right exact amount of both, okay? And so that's about right. So this ball has now turned into this, so that's probably 4 inches by about 6 inches, so I think that's going to be perfect. So next thing I'll do is we have some cheese here. I have some Dijon mustard, and we have some Canadian bacon. So I'm going to get these all ready to go. And if we wanted to, if we were actually going to make all 4 of these, and we had enough counter space like I do here, let's go ahead and make just a couple of them, so we're not making one at a time, okay? So once again, I push it out into the square or the rectangle, and then with your rolling pin, go ahead and roll it out. Like I say, don't go crazy pushing down on it, but have a certain amount of firmness. You're in charge, okay? Don't let that dough get the best of you. All right, see the way I fixed that? It kind of broke apart, but I just mended it back together, kind of pastry repair, I call it. I've got a company that I have. It was called Rich's Pastry Repair, and it was if you broke your pasta or your pastry, I would come out and fix it, but no one ever hired me, so I had to go out of business. It was kind of a wasted. I'm just kidding. That really wasn't true. I thought it kind of sounded funny, like the germ of it in my head sounded funny, but then when I told it, I know my daughters would have been rolling their eyes, really embarrassed that their dad was telling such a bad joke in front of a whole bunch of people. So be it. I'm used to it. Yeah, Eric was laughing too. I could hear it through his mask. Okay, so look at it now. Instead of just making one of them, like I said, this recipe will make 4. And see, I made them all pretty close to each other. They're all pretty much the same size, right? I think. And don't worry about them being exact. What you want to do is just get them pretty close. We want a, what's it, kind of an artisan look to them. So if you make them look perfect, then people are going to think you bought them. We don't want that. Okay, so this mustard, the Dijon. Now if you don't like Dijon mustard, then use a different type of mustard, or don't use any mustard at all. It's all right with me. You can do whatever you want. You create your own Hot Pocket here, okay? So we're just doing a little bit, spreading it with my finger, as you obviously see. Next thing I'm going to do a little cheese on top. Don't go crazy with the cheese. Just go the right amount. All right, so I'm doing one slice on there. I'm going to lay some of this, what are we calling this stuff? Canadian bacon on there. Just like that. It's looking really nice. Nice, chef. Thanks, chef. All right, I'll have to grab some more cheese here in a minute, but for that one. So the next thing, this is the very easy part. This is really cool. This is where your Hot Pocket becomes a Hot Pocket. So I have some right here. We call this egg wash. So what I did was 1 egg, and I put in about a 1/4 cup of water. And we just mix them with a fork, and it's all ready to go. Egg wash, we use it for so many different things. It's basically our glue. So we've got some flour on there, and when we brush this on, that basically makes like a kind of a really, it makes it really sticky now. So that's your glue. So when we're going to fold this over, and then this one comes over, and that's going to hold it in place. All right? So that's just like that. And then on the ends, same thing. We're going to fold these in just like that. Okay? And then I'll grab a cookie sheet, and I'm going to put some parchment paper, which if you don't have parchment paper, just spray a little pan spray on there, or a little bit of oil, just rub some oil on there. Any way works, okay? Show you a really good way to cut parchment paper with a knife. I don't know why I thought that was funny, but okay, so I fold it in half, you cut right through it. I'll lay that down there, and we're set. Okay, so now I'm going to turn my Hot Pocket over. Oh, it looks pretty nice, right? I'll do the second one. Oh, look at that. And you spill a little on there, don't worry about it. It's all going to be covered up. All right, so we got one, a pocket 2, a pocket 3, a pocket 4. That's a good song. That's Biebs. Okay, so now we have 2 on there. And if I ran to the refrigerator right now and grabbed more, I'm not going to, because I just wanted to show you these. Next thing I'm going to do, we're going to put these in the oven. These ones we will. So I'm going to brush them with some more of this egg wash, okay? So now the egg wash, it turns from being the glue to being the glaze. So what it's going to do is going to give a nice kind of glazy look when it comes out of the oven, when it's all cooked. And I will take my fork, or if you have a really sharp knife, you can do some kind of cool little slits, but not really thick. You just want to open up just so it breathes a bit, so you releasing steam so it doesn't like puff up all crazy, okay? So just like that, and these are ready to go in. And so like I said, if you want it, these are ones you can make. You can freeze them, or you can bake them all right away. The cool thing if you freeze them, and what you want to do is, first thing you want to do, you want to make them like this, and then what we're going to do is par bake them. So we're going to bake them for not all the way through. We're going to bake them for about maybe 5 or 6 minutes, just so they've started baking, okay? We don't want to finish them. And then you take them out, let them cool, and then you can individually wrap them. Don't stack them on top of each other and wrap the whole thing. Individually wrap each one. Because if you wrap things stacked on top of each other, then they're going to freeze together in the freezer. So you just do one, wrap it with, what we're going to wrap it with is just plastic wrap. And then then once you get them all wrapped, you can stack them, or however you want to store them, in the freezer. And then you come home from school one day, you pull one out, turn on the oven, turn on about 350, unwrap it, take the plastic off, put it on a sheet pan or a cookie pan, whatever, put it in the oven. In about 10 or 15 minutes, you'll have a perfect snack for after school, okay? These will keep for quite a while. They'll keep a month and a half in the freezer. But they're so good, you'll probably go through them pretty quickly, okay? So easy to make. You make different sizes. If you want to make mini Hot Pockets, you would make them maybe half that size. All kinds of fun things. But the fillings are the really fun part once you get going with those. And as promised, because I am a chef of integrity and I do not lie, there we go. I made one of these between class today. Look at that Hot Pocket. It's all beautiful, all baked. That cheese inside is going to be nicely melted. I'm trying to find a nice thing to put it on. I should have had a plate over here. Gosh darn it, chef. What's wrong with you? All right, so you can imagine you're home after school. You're on your phone, because that's what happens these days. That's all you do. You come home, you get on your phone. I guess you did that at school too. But then you say, I want a Hot Pocket. Boom. That was the easiest recipe in the whole wide world. It didn't take us long at all. And we can cut it open. Let's have a look what it looks like inside of here. Oh my goodness, look at that. That cheese all melted. That ham ready to be eaten. I think I'm going to give that to Eric, our cameraman. See that it's got a really nice kind of glaze on top. That's that egg wash. Perfect, ready to go. Notice the dough is not too thick also. Like I said, you do the dough too thick or the breading too thick, it's going to be way off. You're going to get a big, gooey piece of bread in your mouth with not a lot of filling. So do it the right way and you're going to be so happy. You're going to be the most popular student in school. All right, so remember, get in the kitchen, sharpen your knives, and keep on cooking. Boom.